Hey guys, how's it going? So, another week, another mobile suit, and this week we have the Rozen Zulu. And I did already record a big video and was trying to do an edit thing with all the stuff with the gameplay and everything else. And I'll probably do a video on the Rozen Zulu by itself in that case, and also maybe a video on the situational battles and what I think they could improve on that. But here we go, just so I have something out because editing just took too long on the weekend. Let's go. And this will be kind of a speedrun version through all of it, so if you have any questions, just catch me when I'm streaming. I'll try to be streaming tomorrow night for the actual update for the winter stuff. That video is going to be coming out right after this one, either tonight or tomorrow morning, whenever I can actually get it uploaded. But either way, both of those should be out within 12 hours of each other if I don't get it out tonight. But anyway, figured out this would be an injustice to not talk about the Rozen Zulu. If you're a support main and you need a 4-star, well, a 700 support, this has the potential to dethrone the Kshatriya. This actually has a skill cap requirement though, kind of like the Bound Dock, and this is a 700 support that actually has the skill that can give it the ability to do so. And that's the big thing with the Rozen Zulu. So, weapons wise, this is a gimmick. It's too you got to be really close to the target, and the lock on honestly I think takes too long. I thought about throwing the Saikamu thing on that lets the lock on like 25% faster or whatever it is. Now that might make that worth it. Whatever that part is, I can't remember the psycho frame, whatever. If the 3% damage reduction, if that is 25%, if I'm remembering correctly, that might be enough to make that worth it, and then you kind of have to have it because honestly, takes way too long. If they're not looking at you, then boom, you pop that on, easy game. But the main thing with how good this effect is, this helps defend against raids when they're on you, and you also have the stun capability and the skill, which is the defense mode, to actually get around and not completely just die and fall over to a raid instantly. You actually have a way to kind of fight back, which is amazing. That's pretty much something we've never had as supports. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the video if it'll go ahead and load. If not, we'll just talk about the weapons. So it has the claw. It has the side kind of like Hama stun beams from the incom. But it has the big long range claw incom that has a very quick lock on. Really awesome. 2 shots from the beam. When you fire it, an instant stun shield or a full charge that pierces and shoots a huge barrage. I've hit 700,000 very regularly, 7,000 very regularly on generals, so it's huge. Massive damage there, so you can take out about half their health with a full charge beam. It pierces, so you can hit multiples, and they stun, so huge there. The actual shield itself does decent damage as well, just shooting with it, so, you know, no big deal if you just want to shoot it. Now, probably want to full charge it before you overheat, but then you have the 3-hit stun with the main weapon, and it fires very quick, so you can just spam it back to back and overheat very fast. You can get, I think, 5 shots out before you overheat. Hopefully they'll up that to 6, that way you can definitely stun 2 different targets if you need to. That would be massive. Now it might up the damage a little much for what they're wanting because this thing has a huge amount of utility. It's not vomiting damage like the Kshatriya and other suits, but it has very consistent, really good damage, and you have the skills to deal with a raid and fight other generals and stay alive probably better, especially with the health being around 25,000 and with defense mode 3 being as good as it is. Now again, this is kind of a gimmick weapon, so it's kind of whatever, but it also has the claw melee. Now the downswing, as you saw there in the video, really good. The neutral, pretty bad. And I believe that's all the weapons. Yeah, I think that's everything. So overall, not a crazy amount of weapons, but they all hit really well. So the thing is, everything does consistent damage. You have an instant stun if you need it. You have the incom instant stun if you need it. You have the claw instant stun, and it will go wrap around a wall and do some crazy things. It's very well. You do have the gimmick weapon. Now, when it's on something, it's amazing. But again, I think you got to be way too close. They're pretty much already. You might put that on somebody after you've knocked them over and they stand back up. So if a raid's coming at you, you stun them, knock them over, and then you lock on to them. Now, the cool part about that is, if you've hurt, say, something like a unicorn and they're wanting to get hurt, you can go ahead and then put that on and you're good. So, defense mode though. The big thing, why is this suit a big win? The main skill, defense mode, allows you to go into defense mode from pretty much any situation. As soon as you fire, you can go into defense mode. So if you and another suit peak at the same time, both shoot your instant stuns, you instantly defense mode. You've both shot, and if you're holding the thing, you'll go into defense mode, whichever arm the shield's on, the shield up kind of thing, and boom, you don't get stunned. They do though, and then you release, and then you fire again with your income. You swap to whatever and hit them with another stun, and then another stun, or knock them over, whatever you need to do. The amount of combos that you can get off by just shoot and just trading, by just taking the hit at 60 or 70% reduced damage, massive. And you can do this 4 times pretty quick. Now if you keep getting hit, the defense mode, keeps defending and whatnot and all that stuff. But the thing is though, you got a ton of thruster at like 80 something, I think, by default. You can cap out your thrust on this thing if you want to. And you can also get some cooldown with it as well. And I've gotten 5 spam defense modes in a row with the thrust. So this suit's massive. With that capability and that amount of defense that you can get out with a consistent amount of damage, because no DPS, or dead DPS is no DPS. Huge suit. Really massive for supports here. This is the ultimate form of the defense skill that we've seen. Apparently the Gustav Karl has something similar, which that completely changes my mind of what I think about that suit. But the amount of times that I got to play with this suit so far and actually defend against a raid coming at me with a heavy attack, and with the Kshatriya, you do the defense mode, and then you're kind of out of thrust, and you have just a sliver left so you can dodge roll, and that's about it. This doesn't have a dodge roll, but then you can defense mode again, and again, and again, and then at that point you're probably out of thrust. But if you have thrust parts, you might be able to squeeze one more, or actually then have something else you can do, which could be dash forward in melee and knock somebody over. So overall, huge potential here with the skill cap capability, and I think a contender for best support in the game now. Finally, something that can be a contender with the Kshatriya for best support. So, can highly recommend this one. Huge. That's why I definitely wanted to get a video out, because I think it would be a disservice not to talk about it as a support main. And yeah, and it's so much fun to play too. That's the other thing. I don't know why, but it just feels so fun to play. That just, as soon as you get that off, you're fighting 2 raids at the same time, you're taking so many hits from them, and you're actually having a fight with a raid. It just feels so good. I don't know what it is. I think this is the first time that I felt like the type difference actually with rock, paper, scissors might be a bad thing. Instead of it just being a game mechanic and us adjusting to it, I don't know, they talked about maybe getting rid of it at one point in the past. If they do a GBO2, might be an idea. Just saying. But anyway, let's move on though. Don't want to go too far in this one. Like I said, trying to speedrun this a little bit, but I had to gush about the Rozen Zulu and definitely recommend getting it. If you're a support main and you have the tokens, yes, hopefully you've already got it at this point. But anyway, there's still one day. That's why I wanted to get a video out. And there's a step up. So you're guaranteed at the end. The composite is kind of whatever. It's ballistic and melee, so it's got the melee on it, which is kind of cool. I think the beam and melee is probably better. I think the last one had beam and melee, but anyway, there's that for step 7. Again, the suit is huge. Yeah, they're banning people. I can't remember if I just said that. Here's the bad part. Here's where I want to rant a lot more. Now, this one, I'll try to keep this one as short as possible, but Situational Battles, I'm sure, as everybody knows, this one has been a pretty big flop. And yeah, there was so many people, and what I've heard is there's a lot of people that still, even now, and this is just really bad, just leave if they get on the Federation team, and that's a big yikes. So apparently too, there's a way people have found out to leave during the actual loading screen where they're not getting penalties or something like that. Now I don't know how true that is, but that could explain why there's so many. I tried to actually play a couple of these myself just for the event stuff, and it's been pretty yikes. Luckily, I think they might have known this because these rewards, absolutely garbage. So, yeah, it is what it is. But I'll do a quick breakdown here. Here's my issue with it. The biggest issue. Just looking at these. Akai, 200 cost. You can thrash the GM with an Akai. Gun tank, yes, you win. Gun cannon, you also win. Gundam. Well, the Gundam can probably do more damage to you and you're probably not going to kill it. But since the Gundam doesn't have any instant stun stuff and it has to build up its charge to actually stun you, well, that's pretty rip. At least these, I think, have the... one has a beam spray gun. I just now noticed that. That is massive rip. And this one has the hyper bazooka. So one of them can actually stun. And then good luck. Okay, well that's a massive yikes. So the thing is, they didn't balance any of these to actually fight raids. And you have 4 raids and 1 support. Nothing on this team beats the Zoc, first of all. 1v1, Zoc beats every one of these. Especially with these weapon loadouts. So, okay, Zoc's the ace, I guess. Even though the Gok is actually the ace, technically. And overall, sadly, with the weapon loadouts on things, it can actually fight all of these. The Gog can just mow through everything because you can't really stun it, and there's not enough build-up stun here to do anything to it. It's just you got type advantage, so you'll eventually whittle it down because everything you do does massive damage to it. And then 2 Akais. And if you look at the cost, they're pretty even across the board, and since these can get bullied more, the 350 and the 350, you're essentially, you essentially got more points overall to just bully out of the Federation team. Literally just the Akais pretty much win against everything. Zoc wins against everything. Gog pretty much shouldn't lose against anything. The only one that has a problem is probably going to be the Zagok. But I mean, you got 4 that have no problem beating everything here. So, anyway. That's been ripped. They definitely need to rebalance this. I know what I just said about the type advantage and disadvantage thing. They either should like massively increase certain stats so that they kind of scale to a certain cost. You know, they can still show you getting in a gym, but maybe you're getting in a level 10 gym or something. So that it actually kind of is a little balanced and feels a little balanced. Just saying. But, oh well. I kind of was hoping, like, especially this, like, this would actually feel like they overpowered it a little bit. Or even the Gundam, that they overpowered it a little bit to kind of make it more accurate. It would kind of, that way it's a fun mode, and everybody, you know, one person gets to be like the juggernaut of the team. Same with the other team. So the Zagok and the Gundam are just juggernauts fighting each other, but at the same time, they could do crazy stuff with it. There's so many cool things they could do with this. But they kind of just threw it in bare minimum right now. Hopefully, they actually do something with this instead of just trying it and just leaving it here. But they need to really massive rebalance these if they're going to keep these like this, because this was a yikes. This was a big yikes. Big oof. And in the edited version, I was putting clips on how the torment for people here. And by the way, shout outs, to put this at the beginning, but shout outs to Gustav the 13th, Sergeant Sov, and Salty for playing. Also, Vicar, shout out to him. He was playing too with us. But go check out their channels, Gustav the 13th, Salty, and Sergeant Sov, in YouTube and Twitch. So I'll try to have their links in the description below for each, where they have their channels and stuff. Because that was pain. The game DC'd me, so I didn't have to go through the second game entirely. And just listening to it was pain. And I was going to put some clips from that in here, but that was, you know, taking too long. So anyway, it was bad. The tilt was real, and I'm sure everybody's experienced it by this point. They really need to do something. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. I might go more in depth and have a video showing that stuff later, if I can find some extra time, and just take what I've edited already and make it into a separate video. But yeah, there it is. Okay, next we have the step up for this. If you've needed it, cool. There's something for raid and 2 generals. Pretty solid suits, but if you needed something, there's a chance for those, I think. It's just a boosted rate for all 3 of these. Yeah, just a higher probability. So kind of rip to roll on this, honestly. I wouldn't, but there it is. Especially, well, we know if you've checked out the winter stuff where the actual, there's 5 suits that are really good. One's 650 though, sadly, but 4 massive wins there. Then we have the rest of it. You needed these, there's those. We talked about that. Geymalk buff, talk about that here in a second. Oh, for this, the power auxiliary power thing, if it activated, you'll now see protect, so that you know that your weapon didn't just bug and do no damage for some reason. And then what is this right under that? Translate, please. Options button for the options room. Oh, okay. Step up. In the ticket shop, choose from Gallus. Look for that, 1 and 2. Very good suit. Very fun to play. Just a level 2. Just got a buff, so probably number 2 actually feels pretty good as well. And awesome fun suit to play, the Rickdom Stutzer, level 1. Huge suit there. Definitely recommend checking that one out. And if that's in the crunch that they're going to be doing in the winter event, you can actually get this. And it doesn't matter if it's 2-star and still probably ensign for no reason. So hopefully this one's also a private to actually use that. Love that suit. There's a lot of suits that I think should just be, you know, for instance, where I've been playing on the PC, I've gotten the new player experience. Kind of rip in certain cases when there's certain suits that should just be there that you could play. But anyway. And clan stuff has already happened, so we'll move on. Okay, here. Anything notable I'm going to point out for last month's buffs, just to kind of make this quick. But here we go. Desert Zaku, that's a fun suit. I was surprised that really needed a buff, but seeing these numbers, I'm definitely going to try it. Rickdom 2, kind of whatever. Kind of cool that they're revisiting stuff like the Rickdias. Yeah, pretty solid. Numbers looking good. High mode Galbaldi Alpha. This one is pretty huge now. I recommend checking it out. Just looking at the numbers, it looks massive. So definitely go check that one out. I thought it was a pretty solid suit, but the numbers there, definitely not showing it. So yeah, definitely check it out now. Gaz El Grau. Looking pretty good with the numbers. Looking at, I thought it was a pretty solid suit anyway. But again, definitely going to try that one again. Vargil. Still needs help at level 1 and level 2. This was definitely not enough, even though there's a lot of stuff here. The level 1, honestly, I think needed more help. And a lot of these buffs were to the level 2 and not the level 1. So hopefully they revisit this one again. Then we have the Gelgu Cannon JN. Definitely needed help and pretty massive as far as the damage numbers go. Really impressed here. I definitely got to try that one again because I kind of wrote it off, honestly. Then we have the FF Sazabi. I said it needed a little bit more help, and we're getting a damage control 2. That's pretty massive. Being able to do the dodge roll and then actually take a few extra hits feels pretty good. Force Injector being level 2 also gives you a little bit more thrust. That's one of its problems. And as you can tell, since it's not getting stunned and you can survive a little bit longer, you're actually able to throw out damage. Yeah, DPS is no DPS. And then the full armor double Zeta, also getting a buff. You can definitely go try this out. My biggest problem was it's activating at 50%. It was weird. It felt identity confused. And its health was a little low, meaning that happened pretty quick. So they upped the health. It's now down to 30% when it activates. And it now has the complex combat system with damage control 1 instead of the high performance balancer and combat control level 1. So overall, the damage control definitely helps. The other thing is you were getting build up stun a little too fast. Definitely could fill that with how big the suit is. So massive win there. Full armor double Zeta feels amazing. Definitely go try it out again. Oh, and increased the reduction rate of stagger due to damage accumulation for the biosensor. That way you can get in there a lot easier, and that stacks with the damage control level 1. Other stuff, they're going to nerf the Atlas, which we'll look at that right now. Here we go. So Atlas, receiving kind of a slap on the wrist for the most part. Nothing too crazy here. Now the melee taking a huge hit, so this might bring it down, but it's still going to be pretty cracked. This was just kind of troll. The Medusa, if you got that on somebody, you just pretty much could keep that going. That was the big problem there. It was on more than it was off. And the range here doesn't really do anything, but pretty good damage nerf. Pretty good damage nerf. We should see that because his melee damage is massive, so this might be enough to take a hit there. But I still think it's going to be well over average, probably 2 to 4,000. I think they could have done a little bit more, honestly. This is why. It got a pretty decent nerf too. The missile pod apparently was doing a huge amount of bonus stun, so now it has 0 flinch, and you can just go ahead and just shoot for a little damage. Now, honestly, I was using this as my filler, and I was then doing the re-up overload mode and shooting everything, and then doing this last. So this was kind of the final thing to shoot at somebody, which I guess was getting me a little bit extra bonus with the flinch. Now that that's gone, maybe they were able to retaliate, and I was stopping them from doing so. So there we go. Guess that is definitely a change, that I wasn't actually feeling the power. That's the only thing I don't like about the flinch mechanic, is that when it's working, you don't really feel it, and when you're getting flinched and winced, it sucks. So, kind of awkward mechanic. Little slap on the wrist for the damage, though, here. I don't think this is going to be too bad overall, because, again, I was using mostly other things. Honestly, it looks like level 2 needs a little bit of help with the damage, so maybe they look at that. But level 1, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Totus Rider is getting the massive buff. Yeah, it's huge. Yeah, definitely check this one out. Crazy level 2 damage buffs, but overheat and quality of life on everything for level 1 as well. This thing's going to be massive at level 1, and it's probably going to be very decent at level 2. Can't wait to see these stats. It's going to be huge. But just try this. Obviously, some of these is just level 2 damage, but again, the quality of life, especially with the shield cannon, and just some of the other stuff here, the actual main beam rifle itself, chest, that's just damage. The beam cannons, the incoms, all the incom stuff, huge. So definitely go try out the Totus Rider again. Huge. Jigen, kind of whatever on that one. Yeah, it kind of needs a buff. Doesn't need that much, so they didn't do too much to it. A little bit of survivability, a little bit on the double M launcher in the shield. So, just a little bit. Raids, Agzaku Commander getting another buff. There it is, cooldown time, and just some other stats. I don't think this is enough to really, I don't know, maybe it is for 2 downswings or something. It just feels weird. I feel like the buffs went more for the level 2, 3, and 4 here, and 1 still needs help, so I'm confused. Just help 1, please. Zaku 2 KG. Honestly, couldn't remember what this one is, but I think it's the one that you could buy. Maybe for the 31 token pack or whatever. Or is it the clan one? Either way, there it is. It's getting a buff. I don't really see this, so can't really speak to it. But again, it's 300 to 350, so maybe that's why. And then the EH, I love the EH, the Zulu, awesome suit. Can't wait to try this. The actual main weapon getting 50 range and 10 reload, 3 seconds off, massive. Can't wait to try this. I already smashed with it, so this is just one of those things when your suit gets buffed, jump up and down. A bit of health and stuff, really awesome, and beam defense going up with a little bit of speed. Can't complain there. Gelgoog J, the Jaeger itself, I was hyped to see that. And then I saw that it's mainly to level 3, and then you look at the level 1, and then it's just, yep, I don't know what they're thinking. Level 3s and level 4s here, and the level 2 also down. All the numbers are just down. Like, why just level 3 and up? Level 1 and 2 needs massive help as well, and the only thing happening is the spot gun. Really all you're getting help with. Kinda yikes there. Please do more. Palazzo though, getting a massive buff by actually gaining defense mode level 1. That's not the craziest thing, but you can already crouch and resist stun, and you have damage control 2, so you get a massive amount of defense. Just sit there, throw, ram with whatever support, general, or even raid that is trying to shoot you, and just defend against everything. And now that they're reducing the swap time for large missiles even further, and now it's down to 30 seconds. Pretty huge. And if you can, sit there, take some hits, then stand up and go in defense mode when a raid gets to you, you actually have an option to do something else. Palace Athene, Definitely something to look at. Try to check. I haven't got to test it yet, but I think this is going to be massive, especially at 550 and 600. This suit is going to be huge. Maybe even 700, but the thing is, now we got so much stuff there. Probably stop at 650 with this one. I'm surprised how many people are using it though. So, but yeah, definitely going to be a huge suit. Definitely recommend trying the Palace Athene again. Those things right there, the main combo that you can do, and being able to actually defend against something when they get close to you and maybe stall a little longer, that's going to be massive. Also swapping, if the time, I can't remember if the time goes when you're in defense mode, but if you swap to this and go into defense mode and then just yeet when you come out of it, that'd be kind of a crazy combo, just saying. That would be crack, because you can already do it while tackling, but that way you do that and then yeet and then just tackle into somebody and you keep them there. Massive combo. And then finally the geymalk. The actual installation funnel is huge. It has a pretty nice range. It does a ton of damage. 10 out of 10. Very well done right here with this one. That is huge. The shoulders also having reduced swap time is big. Definitely felt that. I was like, did they change this? And then also gaining damage control 1. Pretty nice, especially if you're going to crouch. You can take more hits without getting stunned and be able to fire your entire barrage of beams. A lot safer, and gaining 1,000 health is always nice with this suit, because that means more health when you're on low health for the stun resistance. And that's everything, guys. That's all in this one. That is the short-ish version. But yeah, guys, let me know in the comments any and all thoughts. Have you tried the new suits? Anything that is buffed? Did you try the previous month's suits? What do you think? What do you think of this month's? Did you get the Rozen Zulu? How cracked is it? Do you have the skill cap to dominate with this thing? Because I think this thing is completely cracked. I actually am curious if anybody competed in the clan ranked. Let me know, because I feel like this was all over it if people had it. Just saying. And then, yeah. Well, it wasn't the beam part. Hopefully we get a support that has it. But either way, I'm going to be tilted when that comes out. But yeah, usual stuff in the description. Oh yeah. And how bad was your experience with this? If you had a good experience, let me know how and why. And please don't say because you were on this team and just dominated the Federation. But anyway, guys, like, comment, subscribe, all that usual stuff in the description. Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Instagram, TikTok. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. Peace!